Hey boys and girls, happy Earth Day. So we're going to continue talking about Earth Day, and there was a video I made right before this using the whiteboard, and I went around my house and was showing you ways that you can help do things around your house to conserve energy or not waste water or recycle, all things that help take good care of our earth. And I showed you a few crafts that you can do while reusing some of the materials in your house. So I'll bet you can come up with something fun. And then today I'm going to read a special book called the Lorax. You might have heard this one already, but this is a very important story because it shows you what can happen if you do things that are harmful to our environment or if you do things that are wasteful. So this is a special book, and you might have seen this. There's a little video that goes along with this as well, which is super fun. So something fun, you can't really see this, but right now, Hobbs, my tiger, who normally sits in my window, is actually holding the camera right now in his lap as I film. So it's kind of like I have a little friend to read to today. So Hobbs is with us. He's just behind the camera. It's sitting in his lap while we do this. So this is the Lorax. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was he there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. Oh, look. No green in that picture, huh, boys and girls? Everything is old and nothing seems to be living. Doesn't look good, does it? You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutter, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. Do you see his little eyes right there? Just poking out. At the end of the rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Those are funny things to put in the pail, aren't they? Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-mophone, for the secrets I have are for your ears alone. Don't actually see his face, do you? Slip. Down slips the whisper-mophone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds if he's had smallish bees up his nose. Ooh. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Oops, I have my finger in the way. Oh, do you see him at the bottom on the phone? Right there. That's where I'm going to readjust here. There we go. This is my favorite page because it goes from, it doesn't look good here, right? It's dark and kind of yucky. And then when you turn, oh, look how beautiful it is. The sky looks a little bit like it did earlier today, although it's gotten cloudy since this morning. But it was a blue sky like this today. It was beautiful. It's way back in the days where the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were all clean. And the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And at first I saw trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Do you see the ones there? Yep, that's his little cart. Look how beautiful, huh? I would want to live there. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Beautiful, huh, boys and girls? But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. That's always a hard word to say. Thneed. T-H-N-E-E-D. Thneed. It's tricky, isn't it? The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump. Of the tree I'd chopped down, it was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. There he is. That's the Lorax. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree, and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed, so find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth that would buy that fool thneed. It's kind of an odd-looking thing, isn't it? Now, right now, he only chopped down one tree, right? Okay. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just in that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy. Don't like that word they used there, so we're not going to repeat that one again if they say it in the book. Huh? It's not a nice thing to say to somebody, is it? Yep. Okay. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone and put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts and said, Listen here, here's a wonderful chance. The whole Wensler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. Okay, so he's calling all of his family to come make more thneeds. Wait till you see what happens. In no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wensler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Oh my, so now how many trees have been chopped down? It was just one before, right? Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 trees. Wow. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now the chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Oh, goodness. Now they're cutting them all at the same time. Oh, no. And do you notice, boys and girls, what's coming out of here? Yeah, this machine makes smog and pollution, which is not good for the air. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and who happily lived on the truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." Oh, these little bears don't look healthy, do they? No, because when he chopped down all the trees, there was nothing for the barbaloots to eat. "They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. So this is what happens with animals, boys and girls. If they chop down the trees where the animals live or where the animals get food, they have to leave and go somewhere else and find another place to live. And you notice all the trees that have been cut back here? Oh boy. Oh my, now look. I meant no harm, I mostly truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, and biggered the loads of thneeds that I shipped out. I was once shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. And again, bigger the factory. Do you see all the pollution going into the air? And the pollution from all the cars and trucks that are there, and all of the trees that are disappearing. Goodness. Oh, look what happened to the air, too. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. A gripe means a complaint. "I am the Lorax." Ugh, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffed and he snarled and sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a cruffulous croak. "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat." Oh, the birds, huh? Now the birds are not feeling well. "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, and so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." Oh, and now the birds have to leave, huh? See all that smog. Yuck. "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gloopity-glup and sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you." You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off on their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary. In search of some water that isn't so smeary, I hear things are just as bad up in Lake Erie. So factories are polluting the water. The fish have nowhere to go. Now, boys and girls, we know that fish can't actually walk and come out of the water, right? They cannot survive on the land. They have to be in the water. So if their water got ruined, those fish would normally not survive. So We want to make sure we're not dumping any type of pollution or garbage into lakes or rivers so that the fish and the other sea creatures and lake creatures are able to survive. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and you say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. Boys and girls, remember when we read the story about the greedy gimmies? We talked about the word greedy, meaning you want everything for yourself. And so the Onceler here is definitely greedy. He just wants more and more money, but he hasn't thought about what he's doing is harming creatures and the environment and living things. So, oh my, look at that. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. Can you see all the trees are gone? Look at the sky, all the smog. Right? Remember the beginning when I said it was my favorite picture? Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Right, in the first picture of, oops, this one, remember? Oh, look at it, so beautiful. And now look, oh my, yep. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into their cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath this bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. He gave me a very sad, sad backward glance, and he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. Right? There's still blue sky, but you can't see it because it's all that smog and yucky pollution is covering the sky. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that means, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. And even years later, all that yucky air and smog is still there, huh? And no trees have regrown because all the trees are gone. And when all the trees are gone, that means there's no seeds from those trees that can be replanted, right? So you can't have more trees. So there needs to be trees that can let their seedlings go to have more trees come. And there aren't any for that. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Let's see him down here. So, catch, called the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truffula seed, the last one of them all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. Oh, and that's the last one. So that's the perfect message, right? On Earth Day, we take care of our earth and the creatures that live on it and be responsible. Then we will have a beautiful place for everyone to live, won't we? and be happy and healthy. So we have to take good care of our earth, right? And take care of it and protect it. All right, so that is the Lorax. And you might even find that video on your TV somewhere. So, all right, happy Earth Day, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye.